I try to keep track. I try to find deals on ESP32 microcontroller boards that have displays, touchscreen displays. It's of interest to me because I've got several different applications where I'd like to have, you know, a display. I want to do one on the boat. I've got one for the grill. I've got one for the sump pump monitor. And, you know, the cheaper these displays, the more it makes sense, right, to just have a little committed, devoted display. And one that I have experience with is the WT32-SC01. I'll call it SC01 from now on. That's the first one I have some experience with. The screen has pretty good resolution. It's got enough pixels per square inch for it to be nice and clear. And the touchscreen responds better than the smaller one I have another video up about. It is maybe a little hard to mount, and that's another reason for me I'm looking into a different one. But first, let's look at the SC01 here. It's got this I/O, this extended GPIO interface, which is pretty nice because it actually breaks out quite a few pins. And that in contrast to this other one that I'll start talking about now. Elecro, it's the same resolution. The display is the same resolution. It's based on the ESP32-S3, which should give it more RAM. And that is important when you start talking about sprites. In order to create a sprite, it has to be able to allocate memory in fast RAM. And some of these chips, well, the 4 meg version, when you do that, a lot of times you don't have enough memory to create a sprite unless you give it a small bit depth of the color. So you can create like a color palette, and you can say, yes, give me a full screen sprite that is has a bit depth of 4, so that gives me a 16 color palette that I can use. This new board, if it comes with the S3 chip, e.g. ESP32-S3, which I'm fairly certain it does, yes, it does, ESP32-S3, then it should have more RAM. I wish it would say that there. OGL. I wish it would say that here somewhere, but it should have more RAM. And that's not the only thing that's different about this particular chip. Well, let's talk price first, right? The SC01 is cheapest I could find is $40, and that's been pretty consistent for a long time now. One of the reasons I know that is because I burned one of them up messing around trying to come up with a battery charging solution. So, no onboard battery charging solution. Got to come up with your own. And then this one has that built in. It has a SD card built in, which the SC01 does not have. And it has this pretty impressive case that it's all mounted in with the screen, with the protector for the screen, and it has these screws that you can use to screw it to a wall that's on the back. So the only thing that sort of bothers me about it is that it does not break out more GPIOs. So, and price-wise, it is $30, but I went in and I did the calculator for shipping, and it said it would be around $5, maybe $6. It's like 2 weeks of shipping too. So it's coming from China. If you're willing to wait, I think there's a pretty decent advantage to this board if you don't care about having to have several GPIO pins. So I found that little 3.5-inch S3 based card display because I was watching a YouTube video where this guy was using it for home automation or something. I thought it looked like it was cool, especially the way it came with, you know, the case. And I went to the Elcro website to see how much it cost. And like I said before, you know, it's a pretty good deal. And I started looking around at what else they had. It looks like they have a whole series of these displays. They're not all S3, but some of them are. And I think they're reasonably priced. Now, when you look at these prices, you got to whoa, hang on a minute here. What is this? $30 for 7-inch, 800 by 480. Is it S3? Does it got a case? It's got a case. ESP32-S3. Wow. That's big. 7-inch. All right, now hang on. With a case is plus $450. Makes it $35. Now let's see what shipping is. Estimate shipping and tax. Economy. Well, that ain't amazing, but still. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is so much better than the WT32. Really, I mean, you're getting 7 inches. You're getting an S3 chip. You're getting SD card for $2.90 more. I mean, I should just get one of these. Ha ha ha, look what I got. It says, Elcro, make your making easier. So we're gonna do an unboxing. All right, let's see what we got here. Real quick, cause I know unboxings are boring. It's a little bit squished in. You see how it's been flexing there. I guess I better slow down so I don't tear anything up. Got a little good C, white good C board. That will probably come in very handy. It's some sort of maybe a Grove or whatever Elcro calls their style of connector. It's right there pretty nicely. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'll have to put it in some point. The static bag has the what do you call that? The type of seal where you can't get into the American cheese. We get the deli slices, the Kraft deli slices, and it's a resealable bag, and it is a nightmare to get back in the thing. All right, let's see. It gives you some sense of, I'm a pretty big dude, gives you some sense of size. Let's go here. And see if that's some kind of base program, that's all I like. right out the gate. This is probably something along the lines of what I'm going to be doing is putting, 3 or 4 gauges on the screen. So that, I'm jazzed. For $43, microprocessor, display, touch screen, and a case. Yeah. I mean, nice job, Elecro. It's been a long time, and I've been messing with this 7-inch display. That's got a lot of problems. So let's start with the software. If you go to the wiki, at the bottom you'll see a zip file that's for Platform IO, which is the development environment I've chosen to use. My Arduino IDE, it stopped working. And I went to Platform IO, and I like it better anyway. Anyway, there's an example in there, and it's that full-blown LVGL demo program. So it's it's full of fluff from Squareline Studio. Nothing wrong with Squareline Studio. I just don't want to have to pay for something that'll generate GUI. At least not right now. Okay, so it's based on a graphics driver that's it's not Adafruit, right? It's not, I never can think of how we say it, Lavoyan. It's called Moon Over Our Nation. And as far as I know, it's the only one that'll work with the display driver on this board, on this board. It seems to work pretty good, really. I mean, for the amount of space, for the screen resolution, it updates pretty quickly. Like 4 milliseconds to update the whole screen. That's not bad. Now you can get a pretty good frame rate like that, right? That's the Moon Over Our Nation graphics driver. Now you wire that up to LVGL, right? For LVGL, you hook up these callbacks, and then when LVGL is, ready to put something on the screen, it'll call to your callback, and it's your responsibility to use the graphics driver from that point to put whatever it is LVGL wants on the screen on the screen. So Moon Over Our Nation, I could try to use it by itself, but it doesn't support sprites. And I had a very hard time getting it to scroll smoothly. LVGL will scroll smoothly. All right, so we're up to problem 1. There's this problem where as the LVGL updates the display over and over time, it randomly and just sort of arbitrarily shifts the information on the screen to the right. And it's really weird, and I've never seen anything like it, but I don't know how to fix it. I've contacted Elecro, and they're not really helping me much. But at least we are in conversation, in communication, and they're trying, I guess. They say they are. And I don't know how to fix that. That's pretty much a game stopper. It's like a no-go. That's problem number 1. And I'll show you that on the screen here in a second. Problem number 2 is the Wi-Fi distance is pretty pathetic. it won't even work line of sight across the room here. And I'm going to try to show that here in a minute too. Problem number 3 is the display is sort of washed out and the viewing angles are pretty bad. But I have discovered that if you use high contrast colors, that works. That's manageable. That's something that I can deal with. The LVGL demo is pretty bad. I mean, the grays are there's just not much contrast there, and when you get off the angle, the viewing angles, it's pretty bad. But it's okay. I can live with that. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the camera, and I'm going to show you what the screen looks like right now that I've got running, and I've had this running for like all day, and kind of explain what's going on. Okay. Now, I got to get used to what I'm seeing here. Now, this has been running half the day, and it's all screwed up. Let me see if I can find something to point with. This edge right here where the H is in hello is supposed to be over here on this edge. And because it has been running all day, it's drifted off to the left. I mean, I can post my code up. I guess I could post it on GitHub, but maybe what I'll just do is share it from my drive. And I can show you the source code of this. I am not modifying the X coordinate of any of these graphs or this label. This label is it's full width label. It's centered. It starts out on the left edge, and it has now worked itself all the way to the middle of the screen, and the rest of the screen is wrapped around. And I'll show you what happens when I reset it. Watch this. All right, so this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to, well, it will be, the whole point of this thing was to create sort of display hub. So we would have 4 graphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't have the 4th one in there. This graph down here is basically this number is related to this number. It's just basically something that shows roughly the timings. This graph right here is basically just a plot of the y-coordinate with an offset of this label. And I can actually move it around too. I can do this to move it around and make it. So the touch screen works good. The code that they've put in there for the touch screen works good. Can't complain about that. Okay, that pause right there. And the top right graph. That's where we need to go next. What's going on? All right, so read timeout. Now over here, I've got my grill thermometer sensor. Oh, there's bad lighting over here. Sorry about that. This thing has this little temperature sensor here. And inside that little box, let me get it some contrast. Inside that little box, there's a ESP32, and it is its own little Wi-Fi access point, and it is running an HTTP server. So what we do is we connect to it and just basically get the temperature from this sensor. This is the sensor end of my grill thermometer, and that's just plugged into the wall over there. This is just power. So in this top right graph, man, it still hasn't got a single connection. In that top right graph, that's what we're doing. It's the same exact code that I run on my grill thermometer to go get the reading from that sensor over there. All right, let me go battery. So I'm going to go. Plugging in to a battery pack. Back here, so I'm going, I can't see what I'm looking at. I'm going portable. Okay. Let's take it over here and see if we can get it to connect. That word connection probably means connection timeout or no connection. Let me reset it. Here, and I'm going to reset the sensor one time too. Pulled the plug. All right, I plugged it back in. Going to reset this one too. Let's see if we can get a connection. Come on, honey bunny, you can do it. You're sitting right beside it. You should be able to do it. There's the pause where it's connecting. Okay, we got a 79. Good. 79 degrees. And it's supposed to connect and get a new temperature about every 10 seconds. There's the pause, and it read it again. So that's good. It read it twice. And you can see over here on the little graph where it's plotting the temperature. You've got that tiny little green bar. One more time. Okay, read it again. All right. Now I'm going to walk across the room. And just to give you some sense of scope, I'm going to walk over there. It's right here. This is probably, I don't know, 30 feet. Something like that. No, so we already got an error. Connection error. And 10 seconds later, another connection error. I mean, it's just right there. It's pitiful. The distance that this thing will work is pitiful. Now, just for comparison's sake, so that we'll maybe not cast any doubts on the sensor end, I'm going to swap it out for this little box that I use for the grill thermometer. If I can do it without dropping the camera. Hang on. Oh. Well, it's being a little cantankerous. Oh, failed there. So I'm going to unplug this. And try it again. Okay, now we're getting a reading. Let's see how this one's, it's harder to tell when this one is changing, so I'm going to touch the sensor to make it warm up a little bit. That way maybe we'll be able to see the number change. Yeah, see how it's jumped up to 80. All right. I'm going to repeat the same steps. There's an update. There's an update. There's an update. It's over there, right? Still got a signal. Still got a signal. Still got a signal. And now we're practically on the other end of the house. And for Wi-Fi, this is still not very far, right? But we are talking about these little ESP32s. They don't have the range of your Wi-Fi hub. Oh, I got a miss. Let's see if we can move back and pick it up a little bit here. Oh, got a signal now. It's a little more like direct line of sight. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. It's pretty bad. And it's got that wraparound issue. So, not sure where to go from here. If Velcro can't help me out, makes me sad.